Hello everybody and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. You may have noticed that we're not in Europe anymore, and just don't worry about that for now. I'll explain that when we get on the road. For now, let's take a look at this brand new, beautiful truck. As you are probably aware, there is a brand new truck available for ATS. It is the all-new VNL. Now, of course, the VNL has been around for some time and has been in this game for the past, 4 years now. However, that original VNL that's in the game models the 2014 VNL. What we have now is a brand new, I believe it's a 2023 VNL. There are 3 different models that come with this update. There's the VNL 300, the 740, and the 860. Now, both the 300 and the 740 have already been in the game. Now the 860 is the brand new model. Just a day cab VNL 300 here. It's got a Cummins X15 engine with 450 horsepower, 10-speed automatic transmission. I've left pretty much everything as bare bones as possible with this truck, just to show you what the truck itself is like, not trying to show you any crazy modifications for it. We'll take a look at the customization options later in this video, and if you do want to skip around to just the review of the VNL, take a look at the chapters so you can skip the drive, but of course I'd always recommend tagging along for the trip. We try and have a little bit of fun out of these drives. Obviously, just like any truck, the grille can be customized, the mirrors can be customized, tires as well. Obviously, these have been modified a little bit to be real-life tires. The largest fuel tank available for the VNL 300 is the 175-gallon tank. Obviously, the larger trucks will have larger fuel tanks. Again, we'll take a look at those later. Just a couple things that aren't really stock about this truck that I should point out. The headlights you'll see in a second are the exclusive ones, which are slightly tinted. You will notice that if I honk the air horns, that was the person who hired me to drive this truck who installed them. I don't know why, but they're cool, you know. Hopping inside, it's a very well modeled interior. Nothing too fancy about it itself. I just think it's very well modeled. It's what you'd expect from the latest generation of SCS content. Of course, we'll take a look at the sleeper variant later on in the video. I did try and keep this specific truck relatively bare bones. Obviously, a couple modifications just for the props. Well, don't worry about the Nutella. Why not? I'll go ahead and stop talking while I fire it up just so you can hear the engine sounds for the Cummins variant of this truck. So yeah, nothing too impressive for what you'd expect, and we will test out the Jake brake later. It's nothing too impressive, but it's not bad. It's what you'd expect from default content. Now if we just take a look at our information displays here, your first page contains pretty much everything you'd expect on a modern truck. Your miles per gallon, your speed, truck mileage, as well as the volts you're getting out of your battery. Next up is a slightly more detailed fuel economy page. This time it actually shows you a digital display of your gallons remaining and estimated range. Next up you have your oil temperatures. Now I'm not too sure what the top one's supposed to be. I have noticed it is blanked out, and I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong or if it's just not featured in the truck. Next up is your air pressures. Now you will notice this does actually go up and down, which isn't anything too revolutionary for ATS. We've had air pressure displays in this game for a while. It's just kind of nice to have this on a digital display, and you will see if I do press in the brake pedal, it goes down, and you will notice that it will start to slowly go up over time, but if I keep on pressing it down, it just keeps going down. So let's stop doing that for now and let it build pressure back up. Yep, and you can see it building up. Just 1 PSI right there. It does take time though. This is just another slightly more detailed display of your range data and the load that is on your suspension. I have tested this truck off-road and through some pretty bad bumps. I have not seen it go up and down with the driving conditions. I've only seen it go up and down with trailer load. And of course your final page is just your messages. You can imagine that if you drove head-on into a semi-truck, something would pop up there. We're gonna go ahead and leave Albuquerque, New Mexico here at 6 a.m. picking up this truck from a night run it just came off of. Empty trailer, we're gonna bring it down to Las Cruces and pick up some cargo down there and bring it down to Del Rio, Texas. You may be wondering, and rightfully so, why I am no longer driving in Europe. I forwarded the bills from the damage to the truck to my employer, and they said that they'd cover it if I, quote, got the fuck out. Which seems pretty rude. I'm not sure what I could have done better there. I thought I was a great safe driver, but I guess everyone has their different definitions of what's considered good driving. Anywho, they physically picked me up and put me on a boat back to America. They didn't actually tell me where that boat was going, but I just stayed on it, and next thing I knew, I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I spent a few days living off the streets there. It was a pretty unfortunate situation, actually. But eventually I ran into this one guy, Pablito, and I told him I was a truck driver, and he picked me right up, told me he could use me for a business he was running. He didn't tell me what the business was for, but I was like, fuck it, if they're gonna hire me, I'll take it. So I've been driving this brand new VNL around. It is a really nice truck. I do find it funny how the nose bobs up and down independently from the actual cab. I don't know if that's, I don't know if it's like that in real life. It does seem funny if it was like that in real life, but hey, I don't know this truck. I know what you're thinking. If I have no experience with this truck at all, why am I qualified to make a review on it? I would like to state for the record that this is not my first look at this truck. This is actually my second time attempting to record this video. That first attempt was my first trip I did in this truck. So I am a little bit familiar with it. Now I did have to unfortunately throw out that footage just because apparently my mic level was set at 25%, which sucks if you want to actually have an enjoyable video to watch. But for as pissed off as I was, it was probably a good thing, because I actually know what to say about this truck this time. I know its little quirks and features, I'm familiar with the information displays now, so it's not like everything's a surprise anymore, and I'm not stumbling over all my words. So if anything, it's probably beneficial for you that I actually have a vague idea of how to drive this truck. I've been playing a lot of RaceRoom lately. I might make a video on that. Problem is, right now I kinda suck. There's this one track that I completely forgot what it's called, but I have a time that's about 1:06 right now is my best lap time, which, you know, sounds alright until you look at the leaderboard and realize that puts me in 580th place. I have one friend who's been kind of coaching me through this. His record time is like under a minute. It's crazy. So maybe in a couple weeks when I get good at this, I will go ahead and show you guys what that's like, but problem is I just don't think I can make a entertaining video out of it right now. Oh, let's see. Oh, we're just slowing down for that guy. Obviously, this truck has all of the 1.47 features, adaptive cruise, emergency braking. You will notice this truck will bitch and yap at you. And you'll see what I mean when we get to our pickup spot in Las Cruces. I had a friend in RaceRoom, though, who talked me through setting up my force feedback. I was able to actually get my steering wheel, it's a T248, to vibrate with the engines as you accelerate and decelerate and idle. So that inspired me to go through my settings in ATS, and I found the engine resonance setting. So my steering wheel is actually vibrating as the engine runs, which definitely feels more interesting. I don't think it's as good as the RaceRoom engine resonance, just because in real life with most engines, it vibrates most when it's idling, and in this game it doesn't vibrate at all when it's idling and will vibrate most at higher RPMs. Which is not exactly realistic. I mean, yes, the engine does vibrate more at higher RPMs typically than lower ones, but when it's idling, that's when you typically feel the most shudders, if you will. So it's really just a minor complaint. I mean, having the vibrations I have right now is already fun enough. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too cynical. And we've made it to Las Cruces, so we can kind of just let adaptive slow us down. I'll go ahead and demonstrate the Jake for this exit. You'll hear it's not very impressive at all, which, you know, kind of sucks. In fact, let's turn it off right now and turn it on. I'll stop talking. Alright, I just turned it off, but I don't even know if you could notice it was on. It really isn't that impressive. Why do I always manage to pull up way too close to these horizontal stoplights? It's not like this is my first time making this mistake. I've done this multiple times at this point. Maybe we should just blame this on New Mexico, honestly. Why do they have them horizontal like that? You know, it's funny, there is a town nearby where I live that has them like this, and I've been told by my family that grew up there that the reason why, because back in the day there was a lot of Irish immigrants there, and having the green at the bottom really offended them. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead, what the fuck was that for? I was gonna honk at him if he wasn't a cop. Anyways, there's your first example of the emergency brake alarm going off. We do need to pick up behind this auto care center, just like we were behind the Teslas before. They don't really have official drop-off and pickup sites for this company. I've been told that the stores that I've been going to are just know a guy who knows a guy who manages this place sort of thing. Yep, there's the alarm going off again. And you can see it actually did stop me that time, which is crazy. Yep, there it goes. So yeah, they said they just want me to park the truck out of sight behind here, and then they're gonna go ahead and fill it up. Alright, now that we're here in Las Cruces, I've been told to get lost for a little bit, so we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the other Volvo trucks and the customization options. Okay, luckily it just so happens that there was a Volvo dealership right across the street, so just going ahead and taking a look at their options. Something that I really like is that they did keep the original older models. They're just labeled as 2014 now, so you can see there's the 2014 VNL 300 right next to the brand new VNL 300, which that's the one that we have right now. 2014 VNL 730 and the 2014 780 and 730. And of course in the brand new lineup is the brand new 300 that I just showed you, the VNL 740, and the brand new VNL 860, which is the newest addition to the fleet. Just taking a look at the 860, first off, I love the addition of the Globetrotter logo up there. I remember when I first started playing ETS when I was a kid, I drove a Volvo around that had the Globetrotter sticker on it, so that's just really nostalgic for me to see. The different chassis options, you can switch them out, but they will change the type of VNL you have. So the long is for the 860, medium is for the 740, and short is for the 300. Like I said before, you've got choices between the Volvo D13 engine and the Cummins X15. Maximum horsepower you're going to get out of this thing is 565. Both the Kenworth W900 and the Peterbilt 379 in this game, sorry, 389 in this game, have a maximum horsepower of 605, so this is pretty close up there. Obviously, if you use mods, that's going to change things a little bit. Transmission, we're using the 10-speed. And it goes all the way up to the 18 speed down here. For the interiors, you've got 4 different options that come with this truck. You've got the fleet option, the standard option, the touring option, and the limited option. So not too many changes, really just in trim. As you'd suspect, for your paint schemes, you have your basic options that you see with literally every truck, as well as custom colors, so you can make that whatever you want. For the metallic, you've got your bright silver, your forest green. Glacier white is what I'm using on the VNL we're driving right now. I do find it funny that the Smoky Mountain Blue and Smoky Mountain Blue Metallic look so different. And then just go through your paint scheme options. You've got the same ones that you already had on other trucks, as well as just a few new ones that look kind of cool. Obviously, this one came with the brand new VNL update. The rest of these are DLC paint schemes, so you may or may not have them depending on which DLCs you have, but I have Flowing Flames, Moonlight Tropicana, Crystal Camo, Digital Phantom, Dark City, Wild Trek, Calamity's Aim, Dead or Alive, Final Draw, Last Rites, Six Gun Sheriff, and then the space ones are going to be the Ad Astra, Apollo 11, Beyond the Rim, Extravehicular, Giant Leap, Space Shuttle, and then you have your Army of One. I believe these are just the more patriotic paint schemes. Same with any truck in this game, you have customization options for pretty much all of these. This is what the stock headlights look like if we were to click on exclusive. Those are the ones that I'm currently using, so not too much of a difference there, as you can see. You got a nice bar over the grill if you want. And you can see with this truck, we now have a 275-gallon tank, so a slight upgrade from what we had before. Oh, and of course I almost forgot to show you, here's what our sleeper looks like on the 860. You can see it's actually got a double bunk bed up there. Okay, just a few hours later, and we have the truck all loaded up now, about 20,000 pounds I've been told. Ready to go to Del Rio. Just while I'm thinking about it, you can see the suspension has changed slightly. I'm just gonna do one more demonstration of the emergency brake just to prove that, you know, that is in fact a thing. Please say it'll go off now, because I don't want to look like an idiot. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, well that time it went off way too late. This truck makes no sense. It seems as though, from my experience, the emergency brake will only go off when it's not actually needed. But when it is actually needed, nah. Like right now, I clearly have enough space. But back there when I drove directly into it, nope, no, nothing to worry about. you can see we do have a little bit more weight on this truck now. Nothing too ridiculous. 20,000 pounds should be more than light enough for the 450 horsepower engine to carry, but still. Yeah, just slam on the brakes like that for no reason. That's really appreciated, Adaptive. Leaving New Mexico. My fellow Americans, welcome to Texas. On our way to the Mexican border. I've been asked by the people who hired me to drive this truck to go ahead and park it at a rest stop just outside the border. And they said from there someone else will take it across the border. So they said when I get more experienced I'll be able to do the border crossing, but for now they're going to leave that to the quote professionals. So, you know. So for now, I am just a U.S. domestic driver. You know, I think I mentioned this before, but El Paso just reminds me so much of this town I used to drive through. Specifically driving through this interstate that just basically cuts right through all the buildings and bridges, just like this. It's so cool. Sadly, they are going to take that interstate down soon. It's funny that, you know, the interstate is really old and needs to be renovated, but one of the biggest arguments for just taking it down completely is that when it was created, it cut through minority neighborhoods. I'm not trying to get political on this channel at all, but I just find that really interesting that the development of the highway back in the 60s is having a major political impact on its existence nowadays. You know, I'm a little biased because of my memories of that highway, so I don't want to see it go, but the good news is that, and of course, big lag spike for no reason. I really don't want to see it go, but the good news is that for the time being, well, good news depending on your perspective on things, for the time being, it's not being torn down for at least another year or so, because some town objected to it, claiming that by tearing it down, they were going to increase their own traffic, and they needed to talk about that as a community or so. It was so weird. It's one of those things where it's like, yes, I agree with you, but not for the same reasons. You might be wondering what we're taking to the Mexico border, and I haven't been told this, which is a little bit annoying, but at the same time, hey, I don't care, I'm paid to shut up and drive the truck, I don't need to ask questions. They also said that during this leg of the trip in particular, I need to be really careful not to, quote, attract attention. So in other words, I have to be a safe driver, I can't speed, I can't blow through stop signs or red lights or anything, and I can't crash into people. Now, the first time I tried recording this video, immediately after I said that, I rear-ended a semi-truck while trying to demonstrate the emergency braking on this truck. In fact, that accident was so bad that the real-life fire department got called and showed up while I was recording the outro. Lights are pretty good, including the exterior and the interior ones. They're definitely not coming for me or this truck or anything like that, I can promise you that. But luckily, with the magic power of editing, I can say that was just a dream, and now we are doing the real-life safe drive. Oh my god, my exit is right there, and I was not paying attention, gosh darn. Hey, wouldn't it have been... Hey, wouldn't it have been just... Why can't I say this? Hey, wouldn't it have just been Hey, wouldn't it have just been faster? I should stop even pretending to act like this is my first time saying it. Wouldn't it have been faster to just stay on the interstate? There we go. Because we slowed down to like 40 for that ramp exit, and it took an extra mile or so to actually take the exit. And it looks like if I stayed on the interstate, I could have stayed at 65 and then just cut across these lanes right here. Dude, the engine resonance on this, my whole arm is vibrating right now. I love just how endless this part of the map feels. Oh great, now we're stuck behind a trooper. Oh, speaking of which, look at what's going on over here. Is this AI going to... Come on, dude, really? 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 Okay, I guess he did. I guess he was leaving some space, but still, it would have been nice if you like flash your lights or something. Yeah, you can see that that top temperature is still X'd out, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if that's a bug or if it's supposed to do that or if I'm doing something wrong. But it's definitely one of those three options. Oh my god, when you hit the rumble strips, I almost wish I had a webcam on for this, because the rumble strips make the truck shake so much. I can't be the only one who sometimes wishes we had lane assist. Like, don't get me wrong, I know that at that point we wouldn't even have to do anything, but you know, I had a video idea of crossing the whole map in one go without stopping, and I feel like the only way I'd be able to do that is if I had some form of lane assist on, so I can get up and, I don't know, use the bathroom in like 30 seconds. Also, I just saw a sign we will soon be entering the town of Dryden. just like the Dryden that's not far from where I grew up. That's right, the ATS Texas DLC contains part of New York. Now you see, it's towns like this that make me feel like we're actually drug running. This really adds to the immersion. Or, you know, not really drugs per se. I don't know what's back there, don't ask me, I don't know. Historic marker 1 mile to the right. I wonder what historic event happened around here. I'm sure nothing too sad and violent and gory. I mean, nothing bad ever happens on the US-Mexico border, right? Oh, and look at that. Someone else has been doing something they weren't supposed to. And I believe we're in Dryden right now, which, just like the real-life Dryden, looks like a depressing shithole, so maybe one of the few times that I've been able to say I'd rather live in the real-life Dryden than whatever that was. Well, I mean, I guess there is a real-life Dryden that is just that, but I mean the one in New York that has absolutely nothing in it, besides the fact that it's 15 minutes from the interstate. That's the only reason we go through it. Oh, speaking of New York, guess who's finally able to breathe again? You know, looking back, it's probably a good thing I threw out that last episode's footage because I was so wiped from that smoke. I came up with this video idea the day before while commuting back to my apartment from my parents' place and driving for 3 hours through thick smoke, and I'm not even kidding, it was far less than a mile visibility the whole way. And everything just smelled like a campfire. At first I was like, oh, this is so cool, it reminds me of camping. I spent like 10 minutes outside and I felt so lightheaded. And I'm someone who has a pretty healthy respiratory system, so it's, yeah, no, things were actually not that good, but it's gotten better. Yesterday I saw a little bit of blue skies, and today it's been pretty clear, so I don't notice anything. They still say that for people with compromised respiratory systems it could still be unhealthy, but I've been feeling great and haven't smelled or noticed or seen anything, so much better than it used to be. And it gives me a lot more energy to record bullshit like this. Oh wow, round number 3. You know, given the type of operation that we're doing, probably a good thing that they're stopping all those guys. I know what you're thinking, what type of operation? You never specified. Exactly. Yeah, I see him. You can calm down. Do you think it would have actually braked for me if I just didn't touch the brakes at all there? Because so far I've been having some pretty mixed luck with it actually braking when it reasonably should. Okay, now I think I need to be in this lane. Yeah, that stupid bus wants to cut me off. Screw you. I'll cut you off instead. How do you like that? Alright, we've almost made it to the US-Mexico border. There's a rest stop right here. I don't believe there's an actual border wall or anything over here. There is one in Nogales, which is really cool, but I don't believe there's one over here, which, you know, kind of sad, but it doesn't really matter for us. Someone else is going to go ahead and take this truck into Mexico anyways from here. And there is our beautiful little rest stop right there. Okay, so they asked me to park it somewhere in the back that's relatively unnoticeable. So how about next to this Lennar truck? I think that sounds good. Alright, looks like we've made it, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn those lights off now. Roll up the window and shut the truck off. Okay, hopping out now, just stretching our legs here in Del Rio. We have made it. So just a few concluding remarks about this truck. The interior sounds in terms of the chirps and dashboard sounds and clicks, those I think are all really, really well done. The modeling all around this truck is just exceptional for what you'd expect for a free default product. Sounds leave room to be desired, I think. I think that's the only big negative I have about this truck, but I mean, that's kind of consistent across all SCS models. I absolutely love the lights, both the exterior and the interior cockpit lights. Maybe we'll take this on a night drive next time, we'll see. And the customization options, you know, they're pretty much what you'd expect in any default truck. They're really not bad in my opinion. I know that some of the payware stuff nowadays, you have like 1,000 customization options, but I think that this is more than enough for my needs. So with that out of the way, thank you very much for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more bullshit.